I swear to you, this is May of 2022, not March of 2020, okay? And we're still talking about lockdowns because if you take a look at what's going on in China right now, they're locking people in their homes, okay? Shanghai is in full fucking lockdown. Why exactly? Don't know for sure. Because it was proven to not work by like multiple outlets, and lockdowns just lead to more terror, fear, and just overall worse performance for society. But it's Shanghai, it's China. You think they give a fuck about their people, okay? But according to public health experts, which I don't know if we trust these experts or if they're the good experts or which experts they are at this point or another, but Americans need to learn from extreme lockdowns in Shanghai. Otherwise, you'll look like her. No, just kidding. I'm sure she's a nice lady, but just fuck's sakes. It's called conditioner. Psychiatrist Carol Lieberman, oy vey, who holds a master's degree in public health. Time well spent. Hopes that Americans will learn for the draconian measures that the citizens of Shanghai, China, are being subjected to under the Chinese Communist Party. She warns that if Americans do not stand up for their freedoms, then authorities may take them away, and also more of them. And by them, I mean fundamental rights in the name of public health. Yep, gave them an inch, they took a mile, tried to just pull back on the rope a little bit, and it's like, hey, we don't like that. And they're like, nah, go fuck you. Make sure that doesn't happen again. Yes, China is the ultimate nightmare, Lieberman told the host of NDT's Capital Report, Steve Lance, in a recent interview. I hope Americans realize that if we are being sheep and following all the rules like the lockdowns and so on in America, we could end up like that. Citywide lockdown in Shanghai, China started on April 1st. Aha, April Fools, you can't reave. After a partial lockdown began on the east side of the city on March 28th, currently Shanghai residents say they are running short of provisions because of the lockdown. Yeah, because they're not allowed to leave. Like, it's a lockdown, all right? A full fucking lockdown. Shanghai residents told the Chinese Epoch Times that they are facing a food crisis. Sealed inside their homes, many residents taken to social media to plead for help, and they are unable to obtain food. In addition, business activity has been severely disrupted, while delays in trucking and deliveries. Here in the United States, Lieberman said public health officials seem to be motivated by power and money. You don't say. Specifically, allowing pharmaceutical companies to profit from the mass vaccine campaign, she said, is wrong because scientists do not know the long-term effects of things. Listen, I'm on the doorstep of getting that other fucking strike taken down, so I don't want to push this. Why am I bringing this up? Well, because, hey, the advocates. We know the public health experts that were pushing for all the lockdowns, all of the draconian policies. And you know what? Hey, you might have forgot about some of them because, yeah, the pandemic is how many different bright, shiny pieces of fool's gold that's been thrown out in front of the public to just distract from the pandemic. What is it? Russia and Ukraine, Amber Heard, Johnny Depp trial. All of that stuff has taken over the public zeitgeist, and it's been at the center of different cultural debates for at least a couple of months at this point. Don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain, right? Meanwhile, you have Francis Collins, head of the NHS. No, not the NHS. That's the UK version of the Department of Health. Whatever. He was stepping down for something. You got CDC's Walensky. You got Fauci. Okay, influencing and making policy decisions one step at a time. But then you have the different tastemakers even behind them. Case in point, one guy in particular, Mr. Bill Gates. Of course, he's just really big mad that he doesn't have the money of Elon Musk to just buy a social media empire, okay? What would he rather do? He wants to make more grander influences, right? When he's actually not getting bitched out by Elon Musk. Take a look at that little tete-a-tete between the two billionaires. I really wish there was somebody who, had a whole bunch of money who was actually red-pilled on a bunch of topics, but that's just not the case of the world right now. But let's pay attention to what one man behind the curtain is doing. Bill Gates proposes global surveillance pact with the WHO to spot pandemic threats. Yeah, this is so great. So great. The guy who loves population control, the largest owner of the most farmland in the United States. That's Bill Gates, by the way. The man who's responsible for the most new cases of polio in Africa. He wants to be the motherfucker in charge of spotting new pandemic threats alongside the World Health Organization. What could possibly go wrong? Former world's richest man, Bill Gates, I'm sure he's still within like the top 5 or something like that, so don't cry too much for him, called for a global surveillance team headed by the World Health Organization to spot pandemic threats. Yeah, great. Speaking with the Financial Times over the past weekend, the Microsoft co-founder said that more money is needed to prevent a future pandemic from emerging. How much more money do you need, you bastard? But I thought you were just going to give it all away at the end of your life. You were just going to fold the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and just, you know what, hey, just be as philanthropic as it gets. At the same time, Gates claimed that he believes the WHO is the only organization that can run such an operation. Yeah, cool. Because you know that they've been at the forefront of ethical healthcare in the world, right? Gates warned that the conflict in Ukraine dominates international policies. Leaders shouldn't lose focus on the coup. Oh, yeah. Oh, there's a grain of truth in there because, yeah, no, Ukraine is dominating the headlines, of course. We just pointed that out previously. The common person shouldn't lose track of what the governments are doing and their response of it, okay? Not the coup itself. It's all right. That's just going to become endemic, okay? It's just going to be around, and everybody's going to have to fucking live with it. But how the governments are acting to this, that's what we should be paying attention to. It seems wild to me that we could fail to look at this tragedy and not, on behalf of the citizens of the world, make these investments. Not your problem. Gates told the paper, the amount of money involved is very small compared to the benefit it will be to test. Can global institutions take on new responsibilities in an excellent way, even in a time period where U.S.-China relations are tough? U.S.-Russia is extremely tough. Great. Gates then claimed that less than 10 full-time people are working on pandemic preparedness at the WHO, saying that those people are distracted with many other activities. Okay, cool. How do you have that much insight into the WHO? Just a mere humble operating system peddler. Okay, why do you have that much influence into the WHO to know this type of stuff? Current WHO fundings is not at all serious about pandemics, added Gates, who is due to release a book titled How to Prevent the Next Pandemic. Great. Does it involve microchips? Just saying. You got the patents for it. Since the start of the pandemic, Gates has repeatedly touted vaccines. Correlation between those two statements at all? But in February of 2022, the billionaire asserted that the Omicron variant moved faster than vaccines, is creating a higher level of natural immunity, and that's really bad for his business. Sadly, the virus itself, particularly the variant called Omicron, is the type of vaccine. That is, it creates both B and T cell immunity. It has done a better job of getting out of the world population than we have with vaccines, he said at the time. That means the chance of severe disease, which is mainly associated with being elderly and having obesity or diabetes, those risks are now dramatically reduced because of that infection/exposure. You almost admitted that Omicron and the tail end of this whole virus hysteria has kind of, you know what, lessened the need for your overarching plan to force certain jabs on populations. And if you remember, it was like what, 90% of people who ended up fucking croaking off the back of this had severe comorbidities. So if the people who are apparently very old, and this is Bill Gates' words, very old and have obesity or diabetic problems, if they've had it and they've received the coverage thanks to getting the infection without either even knowing it or manifesting severe symptoms, wouldn't that be a net positive for the world? And I understand eventually at some point or another there might be a larger pandemic that might sweep the world, but I really don't think you need more than 10 people to surmise that the way that this was handled before is the exact opposite of the way that things should be handled in the future. Just saying, kids. But yeah, whenever I talk about Bill Gates, I try to find lines, so we're probably just going to end that there. Long and short of it is, Bill Gates wants more international and world control. He sees himself as being the king of the world, and he's not going to stop his pursuit of those goals because money can only buy so much happiness, and the fact that he no longer has a wife and family to look after, he has a lot more free time on his hands, and that just spells bad for the entire health of the world. With all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.